there. You're hanging onto the riverboard. That was a pretty tough section for sure. What do you think? Based on what you saw there, any more questions about the sport? And you can look at the stuff that's up here. Maybe you have questions about those too. Okay, but for sure, what do you think? Did anyone die? Yeah, no one died in this. There were some injuries and stuff, but everyone made it through okay. Okay, good question, guy in the back. What do you think? Say it again. I didn't quite hear it. Okay, good question. How expensive is it for rock climbing? That's a good question. Rock climbing can be kind of an expensive sport because you need a lot of gear and sometimes you have to go places. Sometimes you can find companies maybe that'll help you out, like maybe give you some sponsorship or give you some gear or something like that. So that's one possibility as well. Okay, you know, sure. What's the longest distance I've ever biked? Let's see. That's a good question. I did a 24-hour race in Leadville last year, so that was another one of those. You ride around for 24 hours doing as many laps as you can, and I think I did just over 200 miles. So that was kind of the most in one time, I guess, without stopping. What else? Any other questions before we go and do a few more things here? Yep. Longest distance I ever ran. Another good question. Let's see. I don't know the distance, but there was one time in Patagonia. Anyone know where Patagonia is? Not Africa. Which continent? Patagonia? You got it? South America, right? Southern South America, in Argentina. We did a race and we were running kind of non-stop for about 48 hours. So a couple of days, couple of nights. I'm not sure exactly how far it was. Maybe somewhere around 100 miles or something. All right, next points. If you look up here, here are some of the lessons or some of the things that I've taken from this sport that I think maybe you can apply possibly to your life. First one, this idea of resiliency. Resiliency basically means the ability to kind of bounce back. You have a setback, something challenging is going on, maybe you have a lot of homework, maybe you have like some social drama. Anyone ever had social drama that kind of felt a little challenging? These kind of things, guys. These kind of things can be tough to bounce back from. Study after study shows that the people who can bounce back from challenges are the people who are most successful in school, in life, in relationships, really in whatever you do. So here's some ways I think you can maybe be successful in those. One way is by teamwork, by working with people. Maybe you have someone who helps you kind of stay accountable. Maybe you make a commitment together to do something. This is my team in Sweden. See this big guy on the left-hand side, the guy with that hood on his head? That's a guy from Australia. Has anyone ever been to Australia? Maybe? Yeah? What's it like there? Is it like cold and snowy? It's really hot, right? It's really hot in Australia. So this guy from Australia had never been skiing before, and he went to this race in Sweden with us, and we had to ski. You can see it's snowy, it's cold, it's icy, there's a ton of skiing. He had to do a lot of skiing, and as you can imagine, he needed some help with his teammates to make it through. I told you before, there was this time in the race in France where I had to rely on my teammate, this guy named John Brown, to help me through. You might maybe think about relying on on friends, maybe on sports teammates, maybe a teacher, who knows, maybe your parents. We all ask our parents for help sometime. Maybe they can help you kind of get through tough stuff. What do you think? Question?
Yeah, whenever you say skiing, maybe like skiing and snowboarding, because I only snowboard.
Okay, good question. He said, could it be snowboarding as well? And the answer is yes. Some of these races have snowboarding too. I did a race at Sunlight Mountain Resort. Anyone ever been to Sunlight? Nice little ski area outside of Glenwood. In this race, it was 12 hours long and you did as many laps as you could. So you'd go uphill on your skis or on your snowboard. Some people use those split snowboards, you know, you can put them in half and then you kind of hike up the hill. You use these things so you can ski uphill. Anyone know what this is?
No.
A ski cover, kind of, you know what it is?
It's a hanger to carry your skis.
Kind of. This is called a climbing skin. So what you do with this, it has this sticky stuff on the bottom. So you stick this part on the bottom of your skis, kind of like this, and then this purple part is facing the snow, and it allows you to basically slide up the hill, but then it kind of stops you on the way back down, so you don't slide back down. So it's kind of like almost hiking or running uphill with skis on. So anyway, some people use those split snowboards to do that. Some people hiked up the hill carrying a snowboard, and that was kind of one of the ways that they did it. Here's one of my rules. I call it the 5 a.m. rule. Here's how the 5 a.m. rule works. You wake up early, alarm goes off, 5 a.m., maybe 4:30, something like that. Actually, I have to get up even earlier now because I have a little kid. He's sitting right there. That's Wyatt. You can say hi to him on the way out if you want. Say hi on the way out, but when you have a little kid, lots of times you have to get up early. So my rule is when my alarm goes off in the morning, usually I don't feel like getting up. Anyone ever feel like that? The alarm goes off and it's, man, I wish it was the weekend, right? I wish I could sleep till 8 or 9 or 10 or whatever, right? But my rule, the 5 a.m. rule, is that you've committed to something ahead of time. Basically, when you commit to something, you make the choice to give up choice. So you've committed to something ahead of time, and you got to follow through. Maybe an application for you. Maybe you're thinking about doing like one of these, an event, like a triathlon or a running race. Maybe something like the Evergreen Town Race or the Freedom Run or the Kids Rodeo Stampede. You've heard of all these things. Maybe you want to do one of these. There's probably going to be a time in that race where you don't feel like going on. But you've committed to it ahead of time, so you got to keep on pushing and make it through. Another one of my rules is to kind of keep things in perspective. So maybe something, it seems really hard at first, but maybe you can break it down into chunks. So like when I'm standing at the starting line of that 600-mile race, do you think that sounds like a lot? All right, Get Her Done. You ever seen that show, that cable guy, isn't that his name? Right? Get Her Done, okay. So you break it down, break something down into chunks, into pieces. Maybe it's like a big assignment. Who's ever had like a big project that you had for homework at school or something, right? Sometimes you look at that and it's like, man, this is a huge assignment, right? This is going to be really hard to make it through. But if you can break it into sections, break it into little pieces, it'll be a lot easier. That's the same way that I look at these long races, break it up into little pieces. So take a moment, just about time to talk here. Think about something in your life that it seems really challenging, it seems long, it seems hard to make it through, but maybe you could break it down into little sections and it might not be so hard, okay? Take a minute, chat with someone around you right now.